Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we're taking a look at what is possibly the cheapest 600 watt gold modular power supply in the UK right now. Interested? Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so in today's video we'll be taking a look at the Kolink Enclave. This is a 600 watt power supply, fully modular, gold rated, and there is a results page on Clearview, which, or Clear Result I think it's called now. I'll link that in the video description so you can check out the finer details of this. We're going to go through today, do an unboxing, take a look at the cables and all that kind of stuff, and I'll give you my opinion. Clearly I'm not in a position to do scientific testing on this. There are other channels that will do that for you, but certainly this does seem to tick a lot of the right boxes. Anyway, let's get on with it. We'll take a look at it. I should say as well, this has been sent to me free of charge from Kolink themselves for review purposes. They haven't asked me to say anything or do anything. In fact, I actually requested it as I was doing a search on PC Part Picker, looking for a 600 watt gold rated power supply for my PC, and going through the list and basically sorting by the cheapest one. This is what came up, and they don't seem to get a lot of recognition in the UK, so I figured I'll give it a go, see what it's like, and do a video for you guys and hopefully raise their profile a little bit. I like Kolink cases. I'll put that out there straight away. They do seem to do a lot of good stuff. It is effectively a German company. A lot of the stuff is designed and made in China, but QC etc. is done in the EU. Anyway, thought I'd get that out there. So let's take a look at this first of all. So as you can see, packaging wise, they've gone for a kind of no frills look on this. It's very, very diminutive. It's yeah, the actual picture of the power supply is considerably smaller than the rest of it. So this is the Enclave 600 watt. There's a couple of other versions available. I think there's a 500 and a 700. Okay, I'll put some links in the video description for you. It is fully modular, 80 plus gold rated, as we said already, and it's got a 3-year warranty, which is a little bit on the low side. Now that is part of the trade-off. So you're getting a decent quality power supply, but in terms of actually supporting the product, they offer a 3-year warranty. Not as good as the 5s and 10s that we're sometimes seeing, but those power supplies do generally cost a bit more, so kind of swings and roundabouts. This is the improved version, so there is an original version of this which has a slightly noisier fan actually. The new fan in this one has a new rifle bearing in there, which apparently makes it considerably quieter, and actually in my own testing already, just plugging it up to a machine, it does seem effectively silent. So unless you've got a very, very silent PC, almost passive, then you're unlikely to notice the fan at all at normal usage. Obviously, as with most things, when you ramp up the power wattage and get close towards that 600 watt limit, then clearly it's going to ramp up a little bit and you are going to hear it. But it's better to hear it and keep it cool rather than in yeah, the worst things happen. As it says there, it's got up to 92% efficiency at 230 volts. And this is where it comes into the voltage thing. If you're buying this outside of the UK and your voltage is different, maybe you're on 110 or 100 volts, then the way that electricity works, it will be less efficient. So you're going to be still hitting about 90%, thereabouts, that kind of thing. But in the UK, because of the way the electricity works, then we do get a slightly better result, 92%. And also there is precise voltage regulation. So what they've done with this is they've done something actually quite unusual. Most companies, when they actually want to produce or make a power supply, unless they're at the very top tier, generally what they'll do is they'll go to an OEM or ODM, get a base design, and then they'll basically just slap a sticker on it. Now Kolink have done something actually quite unusual here. They've actually custom made their own PCB and everything. So they've gone with an LLC design and a DC to DC converter in there, which is basically their own design. And when it comes to things like capacitors, they haven't gone full out on Japanese caps, but they do have relatively decent quality ones for the price point. So we're looking at TPO capacitors throughout, and they're rated at 105C. On the side of the box, goes through some of the specifications. I'll give you a close up so you can see what it's all about. And again, very similar. Something they do which is actually quite nice, on the side of the box they give you a list of the cables, what is included, etc., and gives you the cable lengths, all that kind of stuff, but we'll go through that when we do the unboxing. So when we open up the package, again, where they've tried to save money wherever they possibly can, they have done. So no user manual, no instruction guide, no warranty pamphlet, no securing screws, no cable ties, and most importantly, no kettle lead. So the main lead that goes from the wall socket into the power supply itself, they don't include. Now if you do buy it actually from overclockers.co.uk, which will be linked in the video description, they actually do offer it as a free gift. So you get a power cable, which is awesome. Kind of the reasoning behind it is they're guessing that a lot of people, if you're upgrading the power supply, you're already going to have a kettle lead, or there's millions of them around in circulation, and generally most households will have one. So to avoid landfill and all that kind of stuff and just an extra cable to throw back in the box, then they don't include one. Again, that is going to be another cost saving. So first of all, let's take a look at the power supply itself. So as we can see on the main label there, so we've got the Kolink Enclave logo on there, 600 watt, and also it's got all the voltages on there. We're looking at 48 amps on the 12 volt rail, which the wise amongst you will already realise that that doesn't add up to 600 watts. So it actually runs out, I think it's 576 watts if you times the 12 volt rail by the amperage. The rest of the voltage is made up from the 3.3 and 5 volt rails, which is actually relatively common for a lot of power supplies, although we are starting to see more modern ones relying purely on that 12 volt rail. When things go over to 12 volt ATX standards later on in the year or next year, then things are going to get even more tricky. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, all the specs are on there, so I'll give you a close-up of that so you can see what that's all about. On the back, we've got a traditional kind of setup here, so there is a on-off switch, as you'd expect, your power input, and also you've got your hexagonal mesh for airflow, which is always nice to see. Nothing on this side. On the back, we've got all the modular connections. Now again, the eagle-eyed amongst you will probably already notice that there is actually no legend on this. So again, they've saved even more money, no stickers, no embossed stuff actually on here at all. Literally just the connectors. Now what they've done is actually done something what I think is actually very clever. They've made it so all the connectors can't be used for the wrong thing, which is excellent. So if you're maybe new to PC building, you're not sure what goes where, and you haven't got a manual and you can't be bothered to download one from Kolink's website, then it doesn't matter. The peripheral connections are all the 6-pin ones, so you've got no issues there. The 4-pin ones are all for your PCI Express or for your motherboard CPU EPS connection, so you can use any one for any type of connection, that's not a problem. And the main one for the motherboard, the 24-pin connection, splits into these. So there's a 10 and I think it's a 16 or something. So basically you cannot plug it in wrong. It's kind of impossible to do. The cables themselves are actually labelled up as well, so you know what they are. But yeah, in terms of actually plugging in the wrong thing, you can't do it. It can't be done. Moving around to the other side, so this is the new rifle bearing fan, so 120mm fan, and actually a nice grill on there as well, so nice and open, so it's going to let the airflow in, and obviously the mesh on the back is going to let the airflow out. Overall, like I said, nice power supply. You'll probably notice the warranty of valid if removed stickers have already been tampered with, because I did take this apart, so you'll probably be seeing some exploded views from the inside. And like I said, they're using TPO capacitors, which granted, they're not the best in the world. They're not Japanese ones, they are Chinese capacitors. But in terms of what are actually classed as reasonably good Chinese capacitors, TPO are pretty much up there. They could have gone using some Chongx's or things like that, which are generally a little bit more frowned upon. So yeah, the fact they've gone for a budget setup, but still used relatively high-end TPO capacitors on their custom-built board, I think hats off to them. So let's get on to the cabling. So let's have a quick look through what we get here. So this is the first one. So this is going to be your CPU connector. So this is a 4+4. So that just splits apart if you need it to, although realistically you probably don't want to. Most boards these days do fit an 8-pin. Decent length too as well. So you're looking at 65 centimeters in length. So that should reach even in the larger of towers. Next one up is going to be your main 24-pin connector. So this is 24-pin, also splits into 20 should you need to. And like I said, actually on the other end, it splits into the, I think it's a 16+10 there, and it's all labeled up so you know exactly what it is. Again, you can't physically plug it in anywhere other than the right socket. This one is a little bit shorter, as we're probably used to, and this comes in about 50 centimeters. Next up, we've got our graphics card connections. So these are our PCI Express. So you get 2 cables, and both cables have 2 outputs on them. So if you have 2 graphics cards and you want to connect up all of them, then you certainly can do. I probably wouldn't recommend it. Each one has its own kind of fly lead on there, so it splits into a 6+2, making up 8 pins. So if you've got a graphics card which needs a 8 plus a 6, then you can certainly do that. These are 60 centimeters in length, and between each one of the additional kind of fly leads, you're looking at 10 centimeters. Next up is our SATA connections. So there are 2 SATA leads, both of which have 3 connections on. You've got 45 centimeters from the plug to the first socket, and then an additional 12 centimeters between each individual plug. So the 2 main cables will give you 6 SATA connections. Next up, we've got our last one. So these are our peripheral connections. So these are your Molex connections. There's actually 4 connections on there. Again, same length, so 45 from the plug to the first connection. But what you actually do have on here is an additional 2 SATA ports. So you've got 2 Molex and 1 SATA. Plenty of options there, so all in total you're looking at 8 SATA connections and 4 Molex, 1 EPS connector and 4 PCI Express connections. So I think that's a pretty decent setup. So there you go, that has been the Kolink Enclave. Yeah, I'm really happy about it. It's a great price. The thing is with power supplies, especially these days, when you're looking around, generally there's going to be a special offer on somewhere and you can find some crazy thing like a 750 watt gold fully modular for like £40 or something. But quite often you have to wait around and they don't always turn up and you don't really want to have to buy ones just to have it spare just in case, although maybe you do, let me know in the comments. So if you're just looking for what is in the UK and possibly over in the EU, the cheapest, if not one of the cheapest, 600 watt fully modular power supplies on the market with a decent brand name to it, a 3-year warranty and fully modular setup, I think it's definitely worth a look. Like I said, at the moment this is retailing at around about £49.99 from overclockers.co.uk here in the UK. You can find them elsewhere, they sell eBay, etc, etc. I'll try and leave some links in the video description so you can find out for yourself and see what the prices are near you. And actually do let me know. I'll be interested to see if these are available in the US, etc, what your prices are like in your local states. So anyway, that's going to wrap this one up. Hopefully you've enjoyed this content and hopefully yeah, you'll be putting this on your consideration list when you're next getting a power supply. So I think that's going to wrap this one up. I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.